All right, so this will be everything you need to know about email marketing copywriting in 2025 as a complete beginner. So in this video, we'll talk about the importance of good copywriting. Then we'll talk about the problem with copy in 2025 in general. Then we'll talk about some good copywriting practices that you should follow. And in the end, we'll talk about some ways to make your copy more engaging and interesting in the most efficient ways possible. And as a bonus, I'm going to actually show you how to write copy live. So the importance of copywriting. Dropshipping has killed e-commerce in a way, basically, because before dropshipping, e-commerce was kind of a high barrier to entry business, right? Before dropshipping, you had to actually have some money to invest into product development and research and all of that. Now you can just source some shit products, ship them from China, and then if you see it works, you test out the product that way, with no starting capital or very little capital. Then you start building a brand around it, and that just made it so much easier to start actual e-commerce brands, which makes it way harder for any of you guys who are doing e-com actually. Why? Because there's so much competition. There are new e-com brands popping up every day, here, there, e-com brand here, e-com brand there, another competitor, and boom, you're just done, right? And if you like, the problem is the fact that copywriting is the only thing that can actually differentiate you, right? It's about the angles. It's about those sales tactics in the end. Like, I know how cheesy it sounds, like, yeah, it's about sales tactics and all that. But in the end, that's the only thing you have, like your copywriting angles and all that you can put on your emails that will actually sell your product, because customer has tens or hundreds of competitors to choose from. So why would it choose you? But if you make your emails funny, engaging, interesting, and all of that, people will actually be way more likely to buy something from you because you're actually providing value. So the problem with copy in 2025, basically, people can read. Let's get that out of the way. I know this might sound like a little bit too harsh, a little bit too much of an exaggeration, and it might be, right? But it's not really far from the truth. People are literally mentally disabled. Like, let me tell you a story, actually. So the other day, I'm sitting at home doing some work, and I get a call. It's my friend, and he's like, "Hey, bro." I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" So I need you to come, like, urgently. I need to be on the other part of the city, and we need to leave now, like 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, I understand you need to be there, but why exactly do you need me? Yeah, bro, so, but, I need you because my phone is empty. I'm like, okay, so you need like Google Maps, you don't know how to get there? No, like, I know how to get there, but I mean, I need my phone. Like, what do you need it for? Well, it's like a 30-minute bus ride, so I'll kind of be bored if we don't have. I was like, what? You can't sit on a bus for 30 minutes without your fucking phone? Are you fucking a moron? What are you, 10? Guy's fucking an adult, right? You can't sit on a fucking bus for 30 minutes without his phone. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, do you really believe that someone is looking at their phone, the number one device that keeps them distracted and literally half retarded, that literally decreases their IQ by 50%? So they're looking at the same device and they're looking at their inbox, their Gmail or whatever email provider they use. So they're looking at that app, which is one of the apps that makes them the most distracted besides social media. And they're going to open your email out of all the emails they get and read 1,000-word email. That's not going to happen, my friend. Like, you are delusional if you believe that. So the hook, basically, there's this belief that it's all about the hook. It's all about like copywriting. Yeah, people will read 1,000-word email if you have a really good hook. It's just a skill issue, bro. You don't have a good hook. It's a skill issue. People would read your emails if they were good. It's not true. I don't believe that shit for a second, bro. I don't care what you write. If your email has like more than 150 words and it has like big blocks of text, I ain't gonna read that shit. I don't care what you're putting in. Honestly, like, if I can't absorb all the info in like 10 seconds just by looking at the email, I'm not going to read it, especially from an e-com brand. If it's like more something that's really like educational, in-depth, like business tactics, all that, I might read it. But if it's like e-com stuff, you're sending me like designs and all that with big blocks of text and like fucking the Bible, I ain't going to read that shit. Like, I ain't got time for that. It's boring. Fuck off, right? So the solution is super straightforward, right? Keep your copy short and to the point, right? Avoid anything that doesn't make a person know more and like and trust you more, right? Sorry, I kind of got mentally disabled for a second. So the idea is, for someone to buy from you, they need to know, like, and trust you. Do you agree with that? Yeah. So any part of the copy that doesn't make a person know, like, and trust you more shouldn't be there. So what's the point? What's the point here? To make jokes, to like make people laugh? Yeah, fine. But if you actually make people laugh, that's going to make them like you more. But if it doesn't do anything, then get rid of it. It has no point, right? So that's the whole point of your copy. Make it short and to the point, and it has to have a clear objective. Objective is get people to know, like, and trust you more. So that makes them actually buy from you. So, dam. This is one of the best copywriting practices. And I heard this actually from Alex Formosi, so I want to give credit to him. Basically, This is true for every kind of copy, but this is especially true in email marketing. Why? Because, as I said, people don't want to actually read these emails like a story. They don't want to read long paragraphs when it comes to email marketing. You might be able to pull something off in like plain text emails if you're really good at copywriting, as I said, but in like designed emails, in usual email marketing emails, you don't want that shit. You want like short to the point, as we already talked about. But dumb it down, basically what that means is like make your copy so easy to understand that it's like third grade reading level. And I mean literally, if a 9-year-old can understand your copy, you're doing something wrong. Genuinely, like run it through there's like this tool on the internet, like I think it's called like Hemingway app, and it tells you what reading level are you at the moment. So you literally need to dumb it down to the third grade reading level. I kid you not. You can probably use ChatGPT for this as well. You can tell them like, hey, here's my copy. Can you adjust it to the third grade reading level as well? You will probably get away with that as well. But as I said, you can use the actual Hemingway app, I think it's called, and should do the job for you. So basically, people don't want to use like dictionary. That's another thing. Like, they don't want to actually think about your emails. Like, this is not World War II. Your email should be like enigma for people to decode. This is not like Alan Turing and all of that stuff. Like, okay, like make emails simple. I read it, I understand it. It's not like, what does this mean? Let me Google this word. Let me translate this word. Like plain English, super simple to understand. He kicked a ball. He saw a bird. Stuff like that. Not like, well, some big words using some bullshit. No need for that. Don't do that, okay? Also, what you need to do is be concise, okay? So yes, you should use simple words, but another thing you should aim for is to use as few words as possible. Now, if you have to choose between the two, choose simplicity over conciseness because it wins always, right? But you can always find a way to be more concise, right? So as I said, try to be as concise as possible without sacrificing simplicity. That's the idea. So basically what that means in a practical way, find a way to swap 2, 3, 4 words with one word. That's the idea. Just use fewer words. That's it. So one email, 1 point. What this means is every email you send should have 1 point that it's covering. Not 2, not 3, not 5, 1. Only 1 point, okay? This means that you should include all the information about your product ever in one email. Like, it's not like, okay, so let me send an email. Let me include everything. All the reviews, product information about this angle, and you make like an email that's this long. Like it takes me 10 minutes to go through it on my phone. No, don't do that. Like, don't. One email, 1 point. One short point, concise to the point. It's dumbed down, third grade reading level. That's how you make a great email. Even if you have like 5 amazing USPs and you don't know which one is the best that you should include in only this email, like first of all, remember, people are not going to read only one email. And even if they do, like they're not going to remember it. If they read a long email with 5 USPs, they're probably not going to read the whole thing. But even if they do, they're not going to remember anything. But if you give them one key takeaway, some people will actually remember something, right? So first of all, that's something you have to keep in mind. So don't be greedy with like teaching people all your points and all your USPs about your products. Don't be greedy with it. Be like a little bit more patient. 1 point, 1 email, slowly but surely you're educating your customer and boom, they buy. People, like we talked about this already in one of the previous videos. People need 7 touch points anyway to buy from you. So why are you trying to cram everything into 1 email? Doesn't make sense. Like spread it out over multiple emails. It makes way more sense to do that. So as I said, even if you have 5 amazing USPs and you don't know which one's the best, you should only include 1. Or if you decide to include 5, make sure they're all connected under one great idea. It's more like, okay, 5 USPs, but they're like really short to the point, like boom, 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 checklist, done. It's not like 5 USPs, read my Wikipedia article or some shit. Doesn't make sense, okay? So, for example, what makes our creatine so good? I misspelled it, sorry. And that's the idea. And then you have your 5 USPs that are all like 2 to 5 words, and it's really easy to skim it, really easy to just go through the email, boom, done, get out. That's it, 1 email read. Your email should be like, here's everything about our creatine. What makes it so good? I misspelled it again. Oh my God. I'm such an amateur. Anyway, there should be like the difference between micronized and regular creatine or whatever. I'm not a creatine expert, but this is what came to my mind. And that's your whole email. Like just the difference is like a couple of bullet points, boom, done. Literally 50 words or less, 70 words or less, something like that. Like no more than 75 words. That's it, done. That's the whole email. So you explain the difference in 50 words and that's it. Not only will people actually enjoy reading this thing, but they'll also like learn something and you'll actually never run out of topics. This is another problem like you might come into if you do this approach of cram everything into 1 email. If you send everything in 1 email, first of all, people are not going to remember the info anyway. And then what the fuck are you going to send in your next email? Do the same thing, just using different words? Doesn't make sense. Don't do that. So provide value. This is super important and this is super obvious, but people still don't do it for some reason. They still send these lame emails that don't do anything. They're just like there, like, look at my email. Why would I read your email if it doesn't provide any value? So your emails should provide value. Super clear. We already know that. And no, it doesn't mean that you just have to email people with discounts. That doesn't mean value. Let's make that clear. What I mean First of all, in fact, emailing people with discounts should be something you do the least. Like, you shouldn't be emailing discounts like 3 times a week and then one email providing value, which I'm going to come to. It should be the other way around. It should be like 3 emails a week providing value, and then one email is like a discount, sales, a little bit more of a pushy email, right? So how to provide value? Here are the ways. Teach people something about your product. Teach them something about your niche or industry. So, for example, about your product, about your creatine, about your niche industry, or maybe about your maybe about supplements in general, or gym, stuff like that. Make people laugh. So super simple. Give some funny jokes. You can see Dr. Squatch does this really well. Make them think. Okay, so like puzzles or stuff like that. I'm going to show you actually a couple of examples. Show them behind the scenes so they feel like they're part of your company. So how our creatine is made, how do we choose ingredients, stuff like that. Show them social proof. So just show people reviews from your website, show them user-generated content, show them basically that sort of stuff. You're softly selling them with this, but it doesn't feel like they're being sold. It's more like, wow, we're being a part of the community, but they're being sold because this is real proof. This is not like, trust me, bro. It's more like, hey, like, I'm not saying anything. Take a look at what those guys are saying. And the other guys like, yeah, that creatine was amazing, all that. Boom, sold. Right? Makes sense. Now, make it skimmable. This is really important. So first of all, you need to break it up. This means that you should avoid big blocks of text, as we already talked about. So instead, make bullet points, make lists, or at least add like breaks in between the lines. This is really effective in plain text emails, especially. So when you're writing plain text emails, if you have like, let's say 5 sentences, don't do like big paragraph of 5 sentences. Do 1 sentence, break, 1 sentence, break, 1 sentence, break. And literally, that's your whole email. That's how you make it actually more approachable, right? Because if you do one big block of text, one big paragraph, people are not going to be like, they're going to be like more, okay, this is too big, let's not read it. They're going to get scared away. Like big blocks of text scare people. It's scary, honestly. It's like big blocks of text. I have trauma from school reading big blocks of text. What if I get embarrassed, all that stuff? Boom, they ain't gonna read it. If you break it up, as I said, bullet points, pretty good way to do that. Lists, or breaks in between the lines. I'm going to show examples for both of these, so don't worry. Bullet points and lists. Now, bold main points. This is really key. This is a really good way to do this. So convey what you need to do. So basically what you need to do is convey the point in 2 to 5 words, make that headline of a section, then make it bold and prominent, and then add some supporting copy or additional info for those who actually want to read it. I'm going to show you an exact example, so don't worry about that. Now, play around with the font. This is also something people don't really use effectively as they could. So use different font sizes. This is really, really good way to do that. Use different font weights. So something's bold, something's not bold. You have for some fonts like several steps in terms of like, it can be regular, medium, semi-bold, bold, extra bold, stuff like that. So that's really helpful if you choose that kind of a font. Use different fonts, so it makes the copy stand out more. And use italic selectively, you know that already. So this is a really good tactic as well. Make sure you try to implement all of these. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to implement all of this in one email. Just, selectively sometimes, okay, I'm going to bold this. Okay, I'm going to use a different font this here. It's going to make your copy a little bit more interesting. Make it engaging. So you're going to make it educational. So people like learning, okay? But they don't like to put effort into it, because if it feels hard, they're not going to do it, right? Most of the people. So if you can make learning feel effortless, people will actually get addicted to reading your emails. And if people get addicted to reading your emails, sooner or later, they're going to buy something from you. That's how it goes. So the way to achieve this is by coming up with a good idea and applying all the info we talked about already in this video. So make it skimmable, focus on one key takeaway, and dumb it down. And when I say come up with a good idea, I don't mean that you need to invent new Microsoft or some $1 trillion idea. I just mean think of something about your product, your niche industry, whatever we talked about already, how to provide value, problems your target avatar is facing in general, and just teach them something really basic and really simple about it. That's it. It's not rocket science. No need to overcomplicate it. Just follow this simple framework. Or instead of making it educational, you can make it entertaining. So making it entertaining means either make it funny, or you put together like a quiz, simple quiz, a puzzle, stuff like that. We already mentioned that. So also, if you can mix the two, that's probably the best case scenario, because if you make, first of all, that's how you make learning easier, because it's funny and interesting. But in general, if you make learning funny, people, as I said, are going to get really addicted to reading your emails. Now, infographics. So this is the way to make your copy way more engaging and way more interesting, and just convey way more information with way less words. So they're all in one. Even if you become the best copywriter in the world and somehow manage to teach people about nuclear physics in 50 words, you still wouldn't be able to beat mediocre copywriters who simply use infographics. Well, why is that? Because a picture is worth 1,000 words, and you already know that. A good infographic is concise, entertaining, educational, and skimmable. So they're covering all the major copywriting practices that are the best practices, right? So Types of infographics. Let's talk about that. Icons. So it's a perfect testament to the saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And it also works well with short copy, as you can see here. So they support each other well. It's not like icons on themselves, by themselves, would be fine, and that short copy by themselves would be fine, but together, it's not like they're 2xing, it's not 2 times better, it's compounding, it's more like 10 times better, as you can see here. So here's some examples. You can see like this is an email from Brez. They have these icons, but it's not like just icons or just this. They're working together, as you can see, and then it makes this email so much better. Imagine this email without the text, without the copy. You wouldn't know what this really is. Or imagine this same email without these icons. It will be like, okay, but it's like I have text here and text here, just doesn't make it stand out. This way, it just makes it stand out. It's just so good and so simple to read. It just really tempts you to actually read this thing as well. Like first of all, imagine it without the copy, just the icons. You wouldn't really know what it means. Or just the copy without the icons. It will be way more difficult to read if you actually imagine it, right? So that's how you actually make this kind of copy where you're like listing out the benefits. That's how you actually make it way more interesting to read and way more approachable. Now we have diagrams. So basically you just have arrows pointing out at shit and boom, you have a diagram. That's what a diagram is. Oh, 6 grams of protein and 2 grams of sugar and 4 grams of fiber. Imagine like if there weren't these arrows, let's call them, it will way less interesting, right? This just makes it look smart. It makes it like, okay, I'm reading a diagram. I'm a scientist or some shit. You ain't shit, but that's what it feels like. Again, this diagram as well. 20 plus vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and adaptogens and stuff like that. It just makes you feel smart when you read this stuff, right? Checklists. So this is make your copy skimmable 101. This is the way to do it, the original way to do it. This is how our ancestors did it. So this is the easiest way to do it, but it's also one of the most efficient ones. That's why we're still using this. So why split matters, as I said, checklist, boom, 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 5 points, to the point, easy to read. Literally, as you can see, 6 words, 5 words, 5 words, 2 words, super easy to read, super simple, and it's actually educational. It's actually providing some value. Now we have numbered lists. So the same thing as checklists, but it just works better if there's a specific order to your points. It's literally the same thing. So although you can use it, even if there's not a specific order, so it's up to you. But as you can see, numbered list. So the armor cycle. And this is exactly what I talked about earlier in the video. So they have the main point, the headline, it's bold, and then you can read only these parts. And then if you're really interested in reading the rest of the info, you can actually read it, but it doesn't require you to do that. You can just go ahead, boom, read this, read this, read this, read this, boom, done. But if you're really interested, you can actually go read the supporting copy and get some more info. And maybe if you're a little bit more of a skeptical buyer, it's going to convince you to buy. So that's how you did it. Timelines. So these are very persuasive because in most cases, they're used to show the customer what results they can expect in what order and after how much time, right? How long does it take to actually see the results? So consistency is key. Day 30, you can expect these results. Day 60, these, and day 90, these. Pretty persuasive. You're like, okay, this is what I can expect. This is what I want. I'm fine with those results. Let me buy this product. So comparison chart. It's mainly used in us versus them situations, more like that. So that's where you're going to use it. And it's really entertaining. And it's also a great way to persuade customers because the reason it's so persuasive is because it looks kind of scientific and smart, as all the infographics do, but you actually get to choose the parameters. Like it's not objective, actually. You actually get to decide what do you put. So you take the stuff that you take your strengths and you put that and compare with your competitors, but you don't put your weaknesses, right? So this is what Grants does. As you can see, first of all, just a quick tip. If you want to see great infographics, take a look at Grants. They're doing an amazing job. Brez as well is pretty good, but Grants is doing an amazing job with infographics. So you can see here, they're comparing themselves to, so Grants compared to generic multivitamin and then overpriced green powder, which is basically AG1 athletic greens, right? They're comparing themselves to them in a subtle way. They're like poking them and everybody knows it's them, but you just can't tell, hey, it's them. And they took out all their strengths and then comparing them to AG1, right? Maybe they have some weaknesses. They have some parts of their product that are inferior to AG1, which we don't know. I don't know because I haven't tried any of them, but they're not showing that in this comparison chart, which makes it like, okay, this is clearly a better product, but that's just because we don't have actual all the info right laid down. Now, flowchart. So this is super entertaining and it's actually super simple to make when you think about it. It's actually way easier than all the cool fancy designs you see. So it's just some text and some lines. As you can see here, is a text. This is solid color background. This is some blocks, some rectangles, boom, lines, arrows. Super simple to make, but it's really interesting to look because people actually like reading this stuff. So which best describes your skin type? And then you have balanced or mature, combination, dry or sensitive. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is my skin type. And it kind of feels like you're getting really personalized recommendation for a product you should buy. And then it also has that moment of like, okay, this is personalized for me. This is the perfect product for me. They know what I need. Boom, buy it. Graphs. So you're just showing the info in a visual way, right? This is probably the first thing people think of when you say infographic, this, right? It works really well if you have some stat that can be expressed in like numbers or percentages, but it doesn't have to be used only in that way. So you can see here, this again runs. So just for reference, a vitamin C increase, boom, they're showing you how it increases, folate increase, and they're showing you that. And this is like, again, some numbers, all that. It's really, you can see this is really, this is an extremely simple graph. This is probably as simple as you can make a graph, but it's pretty damn effective still. It's kind of like, you don't really get any new info except for that when you start taking this shit, it's going to increase your vitamin C and folate, right? But it kind of makes you feel like smart. It kind of makes you like, I'm being responsible because I'm collecting all the scientific information behind this purchase. So I'm going to buy, and it's going to be a considered purchase. It's not going to be an impulse purchase, but it's like just an illusion, right? Recipes. So recipes are also a great one. And I know they're technically like a numbered list, and I already showed it to you, but it's more of a specific example. So I wanted to include it as its own category. So as you can see here, autumn infused ice cube. So what you'll need, and then a number list on how to do it. So this is really good. This is something Brez does pretty damn often. Joy as well. The guys that sell like plant-based milk. So you can have some inspiration there. But as you can probably guess, if you're selling beverages or food, you can include this. Super simple to make for you, and super simple, super interesting for people because you're actually giving them a recipe, and it's super good because you're actually showing people how to use your product in real life. Like, this is how you use the product, giving them an idea, and they're more likely to buy. Venn diagram. So they're extremely interesting because they can convey a lot of info, and they're not very common because all the previous ones are used by a lot of brands. You can see number lists, checklists, all of that stuff. But Venn diagram is not something you see that often. This is for Brez again, but you can see it's super interesting because they're showing what they have in common, what they don't have in common, all of that. And super interesting to look at because they're not really used often, as I said. Puzzles. So now I don't know if this is technically an infographic, okay? But I just wanted to include here because I already mentioned making your emails entertaining by using puzzles and quizzes and all that. So obviously people find this super interesting and entertaining as long as you don't make it too complex. So don't try to be too smart. Don't try to be like, oh yeah, I'm Albert Einstein. I'm going to make some puzzles or some shit. Don't do that. Just make it super simple. Make it super interesting for people to actually like solve it in a minute or some shit and get on or with their life. Now, this is a GIF. This is also from Brez CML, if I'm not mistaken. As you can see, super simple, super interesting. People are actually going to find this very entertaining, and then they might buy something from you, or they're just going to like you more, right? So if you want to start taking your email marketing seriously, first link in the description is my free ecom email marketing guide. So if you like this info, you're going to like that info. You're going to learn a bunch of stuff. But second link in the description, you can book a call with me. So I'm going to perform a full Klaviyo account audit completely for free. So I'm going to tell you what you're doing good already and some stuff that you should improve on. I'm going to tell you where the low-hanging fruit is. And then, only then, if you see we're a good fit for each other, we can actually work together on scaling your email marketing and scaling the shit out of your brand in general. All right, so now we're going to write some copy live. Basically, the first thing we're going to do is we have this prompt. So I got this prompt from my man Max. Shout out to him. But let me walk you through it. So basically what we're saying to ChatGPT, the idea is basically just to give him as much info as possible, right? So here's the prompt. You're an expert copywriter trained to write e-commerce email marketing copy. Your mission is to write punchy, direct response friendly email marketing copy tailored for e-commerce brands. The copy must be short, skimmable, and optimized for mobile inboxes. This is really important, obviously, since like 85% of your opens are going to come from mobile phones on average, while aligned with the brand tone and the customer journey stage. Write 3 short and punchy email campaign variations displayed in table format for this consumer product brand. Each variation must include the following fields in the exact order: subject line, preview text, headline, subheadline, first CTA, body copy, bridge section, product section. We're giving explanation. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Here are some important notes. Built for image-based layout, basically Figma or Canva, whatever you're using. Designed for mobile-first consumption, as we already said. Bold, no fluff, attention grabbing. Optimized for engagement and clicks. Must include social proof, direct response copy principles, and objection handling when applicable. No discounting unless strategically required. Tone and language should reflect the brand as described above. Here's what you need to know about the brand and email you're writing about. So for the brand, let's just use like gymshark.com, brand overview. So let me come up with all of this stuff. I'm going to fill it out and then come back to you guys, okay? All right, so I filled this out. So basically, brand overview, I said, Gymshark is a UK-based fitness apparel brand known for stylish, functional activewear and a strong community-driven ethos. Their tone is authentic, motivational, and youth-focused. What sets them apart is their influencer-powered growth and deep connection to fitness culture. Hope it's fine. Customer insights. So Gymshark customers are style conscious gym goers who want performance gear that looks good in and out of the gym. They're motivated by social trends, influencer endorsements, and feeling part of the fitness community. Pain points include inconsistent sizing and concerns about product quality and durability. Email topic or campaign angle. Let's just do FAQ myth bust just in order to make it simple. So FAQ myth bust. Let's do common gym myths myth busting. Myth busting. Let's do busting common gym myths. Let's do that. Okay. Let's see what he comes up with. Okay. Let's see. So as you can see, subject line is already pretty good, honestly. Headline, we have gym myths equals crushed, pretty good. Strong without struggle, rest like a pro. I like gym myths equals crushed. Let's see what we've got here. Can you put it in a vertical format? Yeah, that better because I couldn't scroll to the side to see this. Okay, let's see. So, gym myths equals crushed. Everything you thought you knew, question it. Let me see. If I lift, I look like a bodybuilder. Ever heard that one? We're crushing the biggest myths to stop people from showing up strong. You can lift and stay lean. You can start small and still make gains. So that's fine. We can do. Can you just do? Can you just break 3 common myths and outline? And we will outline that in a table format in our design. Let's see. Yeah, this is pretty good. Yeah, okay. So let me show you now how we're going to put all this together in a Google Doc in order for your design team, or if you're designing it yourself, in order for you to actually be able to visualize the email and the spacing and all of that, the positions of buttons and copy in the actual email. Okay, so what I have here is a Google Doc, and I just made a simple table. So you can just go to insert table and just make like a table like this with width is 1, and then height you just say set how as many blocks you need. So what we're going to do here is just put our headline. So let's go and pick a headline. Let's do gym myths equals crushed. So we're going to come back here, paste that. Let's bold it, make it bigger, whatever. Then we're going to do a sub headline. So let's do everything you thought you knew, question it, put it down here. Let's make it slightly smaller. Let's make this like that, pretty good. Then we're going to have a hero image here. And then we're going to have, let's say, show me the facts. We can do that if you're doing like a blog post. If you have like a blog post and that this email is based on that, you could do show me the facts. But overall, if that's not the case, and it won't be probably the case in most of your guys' situations, you're just going to put something like shop now. You can do something more creative, but let's not waste time coming up with that. So shop now is pretty fine as always. Why are we putting shop now, even though we're talking about gym myths? Because some people just needed this email to get that extra bit of touch points with you in order to know, like, and trust you more. Or some people just got reminded of you. They're just going to shop. So besides, even though the topic of this email is not like buying stuff, especially not in the hero section, right? People are still going to click this button because they're just, okay, this is Gymshark. Let's see what they can offer me. So that is pretty important. Always put a button above the fold. Always put like something direct, even though the email itself might not be about the actual like products and selling them, right? So body copy. Let's see. What are we going to do? Well, all these body copies are just generate body copy for this new body copy that would suit an email with this myth busting table. Okay, this is pretty good. We can do that. Put some short body copy in here just to get people to, get people hooked in, right? Let's just rate things up like this. That is fine. And then we're going to have our table here. So let's first of all make the table. So it's going to be what we're going to have myths and truth, just like that. So we're going to do this, right? And we're going to put, actually, let's do one more. So we're going to do like this. So we can say myths and we can say truth. Okay. Bold both. and select them and then make them bigger. And then we're going to do mids here. So lifting makes you bulky. Let's actually do it with the actual, like this. Just copy it. Why didn't it copy it? Let me try again. Okay, good. Like this. Lifting makes you bulky. Strength training helps you. Okay, this is the truth. We could do the caption, but I don't like it, to be honest. It's going to be too much. This is way more simple and way more entertaining. You need to feel sore to grow. So we're going to center it and put 14 size. Copy and paste this. Like that. Copy and paste this. Boom. Rest days are for the lazy. Boom. We have an email, right? This email is going to be educational. It's going to be interesting for people. We're looking at some common myths. And yeah, true. Most of these people, if they're like Gymshark, gym rats, all of that, like fans, they are going to know all of this stuff, right? But it's still like, even if they know this stuff, it's kind of like, it's interesting, right? It's going to be like, for people that don't know, they're going to learn this. And for people that do know, they're going to like boost their ego. They're like, oh yeah, I already knew that. Fine. But it's going to make people know, like, and trust you more. And it's not even about educating people. It's just about showing up in their inboxes enough times so that you stay top of mind and all that. And then when they think about gym apparel, they're going to think about Gymshark, right? So that's goal in the end. So what we're going to do, I mean, we could do a product section as well, but I wouldn't do a product section in this email, honestly. I would just do this and actually do a CTA in the end, do like explore bestsellers, link them to the bestsellers page, and we should be good to go. So let me show you what we have in the end. Super simple email, just myth busting, 3 minutes. This is going to take people like, what, 30 seconds to read the whole thing. It doesn't have many words. And it's super cool email. You can make great designs with this. Super straightforward, super simple. No need to overcomplicate anything. Just simple email, myths, truth, 3 myths, 3 truths. That's it. Done. So as I said, that's it for this video. But if you want to learn more about email marketing, first link in description, my free email marketing guide, you can claim that. You're going to learn a bunch of stuff. And then second link in description, you can book a call with me. So I'm going to perform a free Klaviyo account audit. So completely for free, I'm going to tell you where the low-hanging fruit is, what you're doing good, what you're doing bad, what you need to improve, how to improve it out. I'm going to outline the whole process, the whole roadmap for you to actually scale your email marketing. And then if we see we're a good fit to do this together, we're going to work together and we're going to scale the shit out of your brand in the next 3 to 6 months. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.